name is Becky Rill. I am from York, Pennsylvania, and I am thrilled to be here with you today. Little bit about me. First, my background, as it was said. Keith is in the front row. And I have two fabulous kids. Olivia's 14, Ben is 17. And if you're looking at that picture and saying, my God, her daughter is small, she's taller than me. So my daughter is 5'8", and my son is actually that tall. He is 6'8", and yes, he plays basketball. And I just found out today at lunch, I had no idea, that my husband went and bought the domain of Ben Rill, which is his name. So if he really is successful, like we're hoping he will be in the sports world, that he's going to have to buy that domain back from us. So brilliant husband there. So I did start off as a middle school teacher. I look back and I don't know why. That was crazy. And I always thought I wanted to be a teacher. I love teaching. Something interesting happened my very first year of teaching, which was back in 1995. And if you're adding that up, that does make me 50. So there we go, I made it. I had a student in 6th grade bring a gun into my classroom in 1995. Crazy, right? And then I taught a few more years, and then Columbine happened. And I was like, what? I've got to get out of the classroom. I want to get into guidance. I want to work one-on-one with my students. So I made that transition to guidance. And let me tell you, there is nothing more exciting in this world than walking into an auditorium with 1,600 14 to 18-year-olds to talk to them about course scheduling for the next school year. I mean, they were thrilled to see me coming, and I did a really good job at learning how to say, I'll wait, right? To get their attention and to get them with me. But I did love being a guidance counselor, and I did love my years teaching. And when we decided that we wanted to have kids, I made it into direct sales. And I did that for 16 years. I grew teams that had hundreds of downline, and Keith and I were fortunate. I didn't do it for the paycheck. I did do it so that we could travel. That was my main goal, and we did get to travel all over the world. It was really, really cool, and we had some great times there. In direct sales, as you heard, I was with a company. They had about 30,000 consultants. And I went to these people and what they were accomplishing, and I finally was like, why not me? Like, I should be able to do that. So I did work my way up over several years, and I did become the #1 salesperson in the company, and recruiter and leader developer. So thank you for that. And after 13 years with this company, I thought, you know what? I'm ready for a change. And so I had the opportunity to start with a startup company that was also direct sales. And that was great. And I moved up through the ranks with that too. I knew what I was doing. I felt pretty good about that. Whoops, go back here. But something interesting happened. It was January 13th, I'll never forget it, 2020. And the owner of the company said, hey, I want everybody just real quick, tomorrow morning, can you jump on a call? Let's make it noon. Only take a couple minutes. So I'm like, absolutely. So I get on this call, and they're like, we're going to keep this really brief. We're closing. And at 12:02, I went into my account, and I was locked out of everything. No names, addresses, phone numbers, emails, nothing. And I had taken everything from my last company and put it into this company. So thousands of people were gone. So Christian earlier mentioned, like, don't put all your information where you don't have access to it. That is a true statement. I lived through it, and it was not easy. So my wonderful husband said, you know what? This is not what we were expecting. Why don't you take as much time as you need to figure out your next move? Go visit your parents in Florida. Just take the time. And I was like, oh, thank goodness I don't have to rush into this. So I took 3 days, and then I was like, okay, that's enough time. I don't need any more. I got to figure this out. But during those 3 days, I came up with a list of 9 non-negotiables for myself that I said, in my next career, whatever it is, these are 9 things that I will not compromise on. So you can read those. Teaching, that was really important to me. I still want to do something where I'm educating, but I knew I did not want to go back into the public ed classroom. I wanted to really be of service. I'm like, there's got to be a population out there that needs help. So I didn't know what that looked like. I had done direct sales. I didn't want to say, hey, now that we're done talking, give me your credit card and you'll get a bill and all that good stuff. I knew that being my own boss was something I had to do. I couldn't go work for someone else. It just wouldn't work for me anymore. I wanted to be able to speak. Ta-da! So I needed something where I could speak. And I truly, all these companies say, oh, unlimited income, that was truly, truly unlimited income and unlimited flexibility for my family. I knew I didn't want to do direct sales anymore. It had been an awesome run. I had a great time with it. Within 48 hours of that business closing, I had 24 offers from direct sales companies to either sell, come on staff, whatever they were looking for, and I knew my time there was done. And most importantly, I wanted to make a difference in my community, okay? So these are my non-negotiables. So what did I do with this? I went on Facebook, and I put out a couple-minute video of this is what I was looking for in my next career. I made this video, and I put it out there. I had a lot of responses, and it was actually my aunt from California who reached out to me and said, I have the next career for you. I know what you should do. You've got to talk to my friend. She's been doing this for 10, 12 years. She loves it. And I was like, great, what does she do? And she said, she sells Medicare health plans. And I said, did you listen to a word I said in my video? It was this. But the truth of the matter is, right? Read through that. This is it. And so I took a phone call to appease my aunt. And then my husband's been in IT for 30 years. So is his twin. They lived together in college, the whole thing. But my brother-in-law specifically was in IT for health insurance companies. And he's like, Becky, this is a huge opportunity. This market is wide open, no lie. So be serious, like really think about this. So I went ahead, I jumped on a plane because my husband said, you should go to Florida. So I thought, right, I should go visit my family. So 7 days after the business closed, and I started studying for my exam, did all the certifications, I was ready to go. And on March 20th, 2020, I opened my Medicare business. Right? So I'm thinking you're all getting the joke of what happened on March 13th of 2020. You might remember that time. So I was like, okay, so what do I do? Like, I'm going to go table to table, kitchen tables, and meet with people. So I called my upline, who was a lovely woman, and she said, well, you can't do anything. You're just stuck. And I said, you've got to be kidding me. I'm ready to go. So I jumped online. I went onto Facebook. I started listening to trainings, and I did give him a heads up. Joe in the back of the room, give a little wave there, Joe. He didn't know this until last night, but he sold a course for $49. And I said to my husband, should we really be spending $49 on a course? And his course was, this is how you teach how to do phone sales. So I took that course March 20th. I think that course was like March 23rd. And I'm like, okay, I am ready to do phone sales. So let's do this. So I was always told, and I learned that, here we go, you should be in contact with your local broker manager. So I called, I emailed, all that good stuff. And they got back to me because they were all home. So I asked, can I get some leads? And they're like, no, you're brand new. Could I get some leads? Well, you have to establish a business first. And God bless United Healthcare, the broker rep, who said, I'm going to give you leads. Yes. I was like, yes. He said, I'm going to give you 50 leads. Yes. He said, now I have to tell you, these leads we consider closed, lost, dead leads. He used those terms. Closed, lost, yes. Okay. So, but I said, Joe told me how to do this. So if Joe said this, I don't know who Joe is, but at that time, this is what I'm going to do. So I got on the phone and I called and I called and I called. And on March 23rd, you count the dates? No, 26th, a gentleman answered and I said, hi, I'm Becky Rill. I went right into, he said, don't give them time to talk, right? You just keep on plowing through. And this gentleman said to me, last night when I went to bed, I prayed to God that an angel would come to me today. So, and I said, really, tell me about that. He said, I have awful issues with my teeth. They've been falling out. Oral surgeon has taken some out, and then COVID hit, and I lost my insurance at the beginning of this month, and I'm really desperate because, there are several teeth left. And so what I've been doing since COVID is when I can work up the nerve, I've been pulling out my teeth with pliers. True story. So I should have forewarned you just for those people that are... But I wrote him in a plan that day to start April 1st. And a D-SNP plan. He had no idea what D-SNP was. He didn't have it before. I got through to another guy 3 days later who he answered, hello? And I'm like, hi, I'm Becky Rill. And he's like, no English. I was like, I think there's an interpreter line somewhere. So I jumped onto the United Healthcare sign, got that interpreter number, and the interpreter called, and we got him on the line, and I wrote him too. So in 3 days, in the month of March 2020, I wrote 2 plans, and I went back to the broker manager, and I'm like, okay, I wrote 2. And he's like, you what? I said, I wrote 2, like you told me I should call. And he's like, you wrote what? I said, I wrote them in plans. He's like, I'm going to give you 50 more leads and see what you can do with this. So I called and I wrote 2 more. So in my first 30 days, I had 4 in the middle of COVID. So the other thing that happened during this time was that I reached out to an Aetna broker manager, and she said, you know what? I've had someone who's had some success with mailing postcards. She's not using ours, she's doing her own. She gets these leads for like 10 cents a piece from this company and then sends out postcards. Why don't you go ahead and try that? So I thought, what the heck? So I sat down and I thought, okay, with postcards, what would get me to respond? I'm like, well, it's got to be colorful. It's got to have my picture on it. And I should probably let people know that we're neighbors, that we're local to one another. So I started sending out these postcards, and people started to call me. So why have I just shared all of these stories with you? And it is because you've got to find your lane and figure out what works for you. And here are some things to think about. Do you want to meet with people in person, or are you more over the phone? Even though I started over the phone, I didn't want to work over the phone. I try not to. So 99% of people I'm meeting with in person, they're coming to me at this point. And if we have to, we'll do Zoom. And then I have that tiny percentage, right? Independent versus captive. Do you want to work for yourself? Are you motivated? Are you consistent? Or are you best to start captive? Do you want to be a one-woman or one-man show versus building an agency? Do you want to work on a local scale or a national scale? And grassroots versus direct mailings. So here's what I can tell you with 100% confidence is I am an independent agent. And I meet in person with those in my local community. I meet clients through my referrals, networking, and I forgot to say my postcards because that's my biggest way. And I do not want to build a team. So please don't ask me afterwards because I did something with Christian and all of a sudden people are like, hey, you're building a team. And I'm like, no, I'm not building a team. I love being independent and doing this business with my husband. Instead, I work on building my personal business and being the rock star in my backyard. And that's what works for me. And that's what you've got to find for yourself.
This video is sponsored by none other than Hire Heroes, you guys. Hire Heroes should be at the top of your list when considering your virtual assistant needs. Let's face it, today, hiring employees and hiring staff for your business is harder than ever and more expensive than it's ever been before. And when you're a new up-and-coming business in particular, or even if you're an established business, sometimes the squeeze of the financials of hiring somebody stateside can be incredibly challenging. What Hire Heroes brings to you is an ability to tap into their best of the best team members that you can plug into your business for very affordable prices. One thing about finding and hiring VAs completely on your own is it can get a little sketchy because you don't always know who you're getting and who's working for you. The great thing also about Hire Heroes is they've gone through and done the work for you of vetting the people that you're going to be working with, and the people that you are assigned are only the best of the best and the shining examples of excellence within the company. So you know you're getting top tier talent and you don't have to go through any of the time or headache of vetting people and trying out multiple people to get there. There's a link down in the description so you guys can learn more about Hire Heroes and getting help for your business today.
This business is all about connections. So what I'm going to do is spending the rest of my time is talking to you, and I hope this is good meat and potatoes where you can take notes and go home and do it rather than trying to figure it out. So there are 3 different groups that we want to work to build connections with. First is building connections within your community. The second is building connections with businesses. And last, but most important, is building connections with our clients. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is if you do not have the size business that you want, you need to get out and meet the people. You need to get out and go to them. So first, connections in the community. I am a super strong believer, and I did this isn't new with Medicare, I did it years ago, that you need to build your own personal brand. And I don't mean your Medicare company or agency, I mean you yourself. I took a good 6 months and I used Facebook, and thank goodness, because most of my clients, that's the platform they use for social media. I built me, Becky Rill. What do I stand for? I stand for my community, and I wanted people to know if there was anything going on in the community, reach out to Becky, she can connect you. I'm all about education. Used to be a teacher. My kids are in the schools. I spent 10 years, long years, being PTO president of every school my kids were in. I retired as of last week, and that felt pretty good, but they know I love travel. I love sports. I'm really invested in nonprofits in our community. So once I built my personal brand and people knew what I stood for, then I started dripping in my business. I encourage everyone to get involved. This works for me. It may not work for you, but find those things that you are passionate about in your community. For me, it's our school. It is also volunteering, and it doesn't have to be something that's another full-time job. It should be enjoyment. For me, we have a grief and loss center for children who have lost a sibling or parent. That's where I want to volunteer. That's where I want to put my time and money. Find a need and then help solve a problem or help a need in your community to make it better. For me, I found that there were amazing women in my town, and they didn't know each other. They didn't know how to connect with one another. So I decided that I was going to start a group that was all about connection, and it was for women, and it didn't matter if they worked in business, if they were retired, stay-at-home moms. So I started this group, and I started with 50, and now we're over 150 women. This is actually a national group, and 2 ladies in the back of the room, will you wave? Nationally, they are also part of the same connection group in different states. But what I will tell you is, although I built this for connection, what has happened is this is my biggest referral group in the community for business because we got to know, like, and trust one another. And sponsoring. Sometimes it's time, sometimes it's money. We do golf outings and bingos, any of those senior wellness center when they do those community events. Get out there and connect with the people. The next one is connecting with businesses. Now, I put this in bold because I have a challenge for each and every one of you. And when you first read it, it may seem crazy, but hang in there with me. I had been challenged in one of my courses, pre-Medicare, to get out there and connect with 100 people in 90 days without any expectations of doing business. You might say, why would I waste my time? It was the most incredible business builder of anything I've ever done in my 50 years. I connected with people, and I started with a group that was from all kind of different organizations, walks of life, and those people helped to connect me to more people and more people. This became part of my full-time work week. I took 2 hours a day to connect with people, and my intention in connecting was to let them know I was interested in getting to know them and what they did so that I could be a referral source for them. And guess what happens when you sit down with someone and you ask them all about them? You know what naturally happens? They want to know about you. Oh, great, that's not why I wanted to meet, but sure, I'll tell you about me. And all of a sudden, we're building these relationships. So if you don't have the client base that you want, I encourage you to get out and go connect with 100 people in 90 days. It will change your business, and you will start to see the referrals come flowing in. So who should you get to know? First of all, other insurance agents. So anyone who's not doing Medicare, they are a great referral partner for you. I can't tell you how many referrals we get from those auto, home insurance agents. Bankers. Get out and meet some bankers, take them for coffee, meet them for lunch, and you will find a lot of them have wealth divisions. You can be a free resource that can only add value to their business and their clients or their members. This is how we've gotten in the door with doing a lot of those Medicare one-on-ones, and here's the cool part. We don't pay a penny for them. They invite their members. They pay for the location. They are paying for the food and the snacks and the drinks. It's not costing us anything, and we are writing business from each and every one of those. And some we do in person, and some we do online. Financial advisors, as long as they're not writing Medicare supplements, are very open and willing to partner with you, so get to know them. Pharmacist, right, Norma? So incredibly busy, and they get hammered, especially at AEP. I hear it from all of our local pharmacists. What do you think about my plan? Have you heard about? They don't know anything about the plans, and most of them don't want to. It's not their lane. It's yours. So get to know the pharmacist. Take them some bagels on Bagel Tuesday from Panera. Take them some granola bars, things they can grab and eat. Just do a quick introduction. You don't have to do a whole speech with them. Give them some business cards and let them know, hey, I'm here, I'm local, I live right up the road, and I'd be glad to help with anything your members might need. Administrative assistants, hairdressers. Hairdressers will tell you that they are asked for more help than probably any other business when those women get in their chair and they start talking about everything that's going on that's difficult in their life. We get numerous referrals from hairdressers, so who knew, right? Anyone in HR and is that gatekeeper, you want to get to know those people. And if you take no other note, please write this one down. Local Social Security and Medicaid representatives. Joanna will love you because maybe she'll get a little bit of a break from all of our questions.
The most successful relationship that Keith and I have developed is with a local Social Security representative in our county. If you don't know anyone, ask around, post on Facebook. Does anyone know anyone who works at our local Social Security or Office of Assistance? My gentleman's name is Rob. And Rob and I have each other's cell phone numbers. And when I have a need, I text Rob. And Rob takes care of things literally as quick as, hey, I have someone who is just fired from their job. They're over 65. It's June. They need coverage July 1st. They have I'm going to fax this in, and 15 minutes later, after I faxed in the 40B and L564, he says, done. Go ahead and enroll them. Now, if you don't think that client sitting with me thinks I am the biggest rock star that they have ever met, right? And you say, well, what's Social Security getting out of it? That person who calls 27 times, hangs out in their office. I've already done all the legwork. It's not like they're showing up going, I don't know what to do. I have everything in order. I send it to them. He's like, you are a godsend to our office. Now, don't broadcast their names because we don't want anyone getting upset that they're getting, bumped to the front of the line. But like Joanna said earlier, when you're nice to those people, they're nice to you in return. And I do drop him gift cards to our local restaurants and things like that as a thank you. I finally got smart and thought, wait, I have Social Security. Why am I not finding a Medicaid representative? Did this a couple months ago, took her to lunch. We have each other's phone numbers. I can text her, hey, this is going on. She's like, let me look into it. I'll get back to you tomorrow. I reach out to my client. It is actually an awesome partnership, right? We save them a ton of time and agony trying to get the info from the clients. We've already got it. But man, talk about those clients who will never, ever leave me when I just help them solve their issues, right? So that one is huge. Networking, and I won't spend too much time on this, although I used to teach courses on how to network. Couple quick tips just for today and tomorrow as you're mulling around here. When you go to networking meetings, I encourage you, if it's not your first time, maybe the first time you won't do this, I encourage you to be the very first person at that meeting and the very last person to leave. And the reason being is that's when you're going to have the most meaningful conversations. The other thing is, I think a lot of people go to networking meetings and say, oh, I have this luncheon, and you look for all of your buddies or all your close friends, and then you sit down, you have lunch, and then you're out of there. And that's what we call social time. That's not business networking time, right? I go into a meeting and I try to find the table where I know no one or maybe only one or two people, and then I sit down. So I actually will wait till last to get my lunch intentionally so that I can sit with people I don't know. And the goal of networking meetings should always be, before you walk out the door, you want the contact information of one person that you can connect with later. And how do you ask them? You just say, hey, Keith, you said something earlier today, and it really intrigued me. I'm wondering, can I get your number because I really like to learn more about you and what you do? Most people won't say, no, I don't think so. I don't want to tell you about my business and how you might send me referrals. So that is a great way, and then you open up and start that connection, that relationship. This next one, find odd numbers of people. What I mean by that, I was going to have you stand up, but with lack of time, I won't do that. Imagine 3 people are standing here, 2 are over here, right? And I walk into a room. I did this last night at the event. And I walk in and I saw a whole bunch of people, right? 2 people, they're talking to one another. Can 3 people be talking to one another at the same time? No. 2 people are talking and the third person's just like, And then you slide in and say, hey, I'm Becky, this is my first time here. Is this an event you've been part of before, a group? And you start having the conversation. It's really hard to get in with the 2s, the 4s, the 6s, but when you find those odd numbers of people, you can step right in, introduce yourself, and it's a very natural flow. Ask interesting questions, not just what's your name, where do you live, what do you do, but to start to find out, hey, can you tell me about this group? Who is someone that I should absolutely meet before I leave here today. You'll get a lot of information on who to meet. I have lots of stuff in my hands here. Here we go. Whoops, went one too far. Next is connecting with clients. Clients should end up being your number one referral partner. If they're not, you need to take a pause and figure out why not. Our clients know from the time they meet with us, they are our number one priority. And we want them contacting us if they need anything before they call the insurance company. And yep, it takes more work. But let me tell you, we can solve usually about 80-85% of the questions they have. We can answer that. It's usually the same stuff again and again. So when we write someone in a plan, we want them to know that this is the very start of our relationship, not the end. And they will know, love, and trust you, and they will refer to you like crazy. So make sure that you are taking care of them. Many of you know about our postcard system. I've talked about that with Christian online, where we drip people that are turning 65 at 7 months, 5 months, and then 3 months before their 65th birthday. So once we've got these clients and we've met with them, we have some things that we do for client care so that they never leave us. Right now, and I won't say this won't change, we keep our fingers crossed, but we keep in such good contact with our clients. The only ones we have lost over the years are those who have either passed away or they've moved. So our retention rate is super high, and then they're referring people to us. So as soon as someone enrolls, you need to be in contact with them right away. We send them an I appreciate you card. We have all this automated. And the one sentence, if you've never written this before, please make sure you start adding this to every single communication. Thank you in advance for your referrals. It's a very simple sentence, but it's letting them know, thank you. Yes, we are looking for referrals. We are open for business. The second thing we do is we add everybody to our birthday card list. So every single client gets a birthday card. We do hear from some, although it's sad, we're still happy that they got our card, that we're the only birthday card they get. So if they don't have kids and they don't have family around, sometimes it's the only one they're getting. And again, that's automated in our system so that 7 days before their birthday, we don't do a thing. I don't even know they're going out. They're just being sent from the system we use to send out our cards and postcards. 4th of July, we always send just a happy birthday to America card, good time, midpoint of the year. If you ever have news to share, when we added our sister-in-law as our administrative assistant, we send out a card to everyone to just make that announcement so they know when they call in. They're now going to be talking to Katie first rather than Keith or I answering the phone. Sympathy cards, forget-me-nots. So for some of our clients who are more remote and we don't have the opportunity to see them as often, we'll send a card, costs 50 cents to include a pack of forget-me-not seeds, and with a little note in there to just remind them that we have not forgot about them and we hope they don't forget about us, that we're here to help whenever they need us. AEP, our cards in the past have definitely been about trying to get new business. We're shifting a little bit this year, and we're going to make sure we really hit our current clients harder than ever to remind them that we are here to help not only them, but their friends, and going to specifically be asking for referrals. I know they said, Tony said that we've helped 500 people in our community. Well, I wrote that last summer, and we now are about to hit, next month, we will hit 1,000 people that we've helped. So we want to use them, right? They're our clients. They know, like, and trust us. And one thing that we started doing that we had a good response on as well, at AEP, of course, we know we have to have scopes of appointments. But if they're already your client in a plan, what we did is we actually made a video of every single plan that we have clients in a plan and sent out a video with all of the changes. So They heard from us directly, hey, this is staying the same, here's what's changing. And we would say, hey, you need to contact us, schedule an appointment because something is not going well with your plan. Or for those, we have probably 50% plus in one specific plan in our area. We said, unless you have a reason to contact us, we're very comfortable. You can just stay put. And then that limits the number of calls coming in. What do I need to do? They already know. Well, Becky and Keith already said, just stay put. Events for clients. Again, if you work in your local market, any way we can connect. We actually just did this event a week and a half ago. We invited all of our clients to a client appreciation social. I recommend doing this during the weekday. Do it in the morning because typically our clients are around, especially if they're retired. What we did, we just at our local farmers market, we rented a community room. We used the farmers market for all the food, bagels, muffins, coffee, tea, things like that. We went and got flowers at a super cheap price from a local nursery and invited all of our clients. And we had over 100 clients who attended our event. And we just got to spoil them, love on them a little bit, and just, again, make that connection. For those who couldn't come, we had over 200 clients respond. Thank you so much for inviting me. We can't come, but we love what you do, or we wanted to let you know you helped us save money here, whatever the case may be. It was a humongous success. Oops. And I have one that actually just came about yesterday. We got confirmed for the first time. It was something we were working on. If you have specific carriers that you do a lot of business in writing plans, I encourage you to reach out to them to see if there's anything you can do to partner during AEP. Keith and I just got approval from one carrier. We're waiting for the second one where we said, hey, our clients really like us. So why don't we, instead of you just renting a hotel and you invite the entire community and 30 people show up, why don't you help us, let's partner, sponsor an event, and again, they're paying for the hotel, they're paying for the food, they're paying for the mailings. Only inviting people who are currently with this insurance company. So it's a regional one for us. And they are invited, and they can bring any friends they want. Right? They can sign their scope of appointments there right at the door. We're not going to write any plans, but we're just going to be giving the benefits. And they were like, no one's ever asked us to do this before, but this seems really smart for you and for us. So partner with them and say, hey, is this something we could do together? It will help with client retention. Again, they'll hear all their benefits, what's staying the same, what's changing, and so will their friends and family. So there's just one more suggestion, extra tip. So stay in your lane once you find it. You can have lane shifts. It's funny how many car references there have been today. I've heard different people. Like, if I would have known, I would have done more with that. But once you know your lane, get comfortable, stay in it. This business is all about consistency and putting in the work. And here's my bonus tip for conference that has nothing to do with what I just spoke about. And that is, because some of you I spoke to last night said, I'm trying to take in all the information I can. And yes, do that. But also, when you go home, pick one or two things that you heard that really resonated with you, that really gets you excited. And work on those first. You can't do 24 things well. So pick one or two and then dive in and implement those. If they work, great. You've done those, now add the next one. If they don't, trash them and go to the next thing on your list. But the key is be consistent. Thank you very much.